Happy Monday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Heather Kane. It's time for our daily hail forecast, sponsored by the C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, and American Contractor Show. Thank you guys, as always, for sponsoring our videos. So let's get right into our weather headlines. Storm system Frank is continuing to move on to the east. We still do have a chance for severe weather, although the chances look to be pretty marginal. We'll talk about exactly where those hail and wind risks are going to be in just a moment. And then as we get into tomorrow, there will be a little bit of East Coast activity in parts of the Carolinas and into Virginia. And then after this system moves out, we have to watch for the end of the week for another potential named system. But before we get into the forecast, we have one event coming up in a few weeks. This is the C3 Lunch and Learn. It's going to be right here at the Hail Palace here in Edmond, Oklahoma. It's going to be on the third floor of our building on May 10th. So come on by, get some free lunch, and learn more about the business. And yeah, so let's check out our storm reports from yesterday. There really wasn't a whole lot of activity. We did have a few isolated hail reports, as well as a few wind reports in parts of southeastern Oklahoma and into Arkansas, as well as in southwestern Texas. And then we also had some severe winds and a little bit of hail as well in my home state of Michigan. So we did have some activity, but it wasn't a whole lot. So that's all from yesterday. Now let's check in on today's conditions. This is the remnants of storm system Frank. It is basically just a cold front now, stretching from the Great Lakes all the way down into the Ohio Valley, southwestward into Texas. There are plenty of showers and storms going on right now. I don't think there's anything in terms of severe weather happening at this very moment, but as we go throughout the day today, that could change. So here's the southern part of the system. We have plenty of rain falling in the southern or central and southern parts of Texas, as well as getting into Louisiana and into Mississippi northward. So some heavier thunderstorms you can see in this band as well. And then getting into the northern part of the system, some showers and even a thunderstorm or two right along that cold front from Ohio southward into central Kentucky and into Tennessee. And here are our current temperatures. You can see really warm ahead of that cold front, and the temperatures drop a decent amount, only 36 in Minneapolis. So you can see those differences in the warm versus cold air. 52 in Kansas City, only 65 in Dallas, and almost 20 degrees warmer as we get into Houston. So you can see those clashes of those air masses. So here is our forecasted CAPE. We do have some, although we don't have that lift. We do have some instability, so there is a chance for at least some marginally severe storms later on this afternoon. Some decently valued CAPEs here in Louisiana down into Texas. So we at least have some of that feel for thunderstorm development. As we get into this afternoon, you can see those CAPE values start to move to the east-southeast as that cold front moves to the east as well. And we do have some lower CAPE values, so there is the potential for a severe storm or two as you head further north, although those chances are not as good as in the southern part of the risk. And as we get into this evening, you can see those values start to drop off a bit. Texas, you can see that cold front will continue to push that instability southward, and then getting into the overnight. Same deal with that cold front moving on to the east-southeast. It will take that instability with it into the Gulf of Mexico. So here is our HRRR future radar. You guys know the deal. This is just one particular run of this one particular model. As we get to around 12:30, so just within the next few minutes, This is a line of storms that will continue to move on to the east-southeast. Some scattered severe weather is possible, but we're not expecting a widespread event. As we get into 3 p.m., you can see that line continues to move on to the east. Some isolated cells may try to develop along and ahead of that line, so we got to watch for the potential for some smaller hail, a better chance in parts of Texas. And then as we get to 6 p.m., Houston, you can see it starts to bow out a bit. I think you guys have a better chance for some wind compared to hail. I think the hail chances will be better to your west. And as we get on into later in the evening, the activity starts to die off a bit as we lose that heating of the day and that ability. And then getting into the overnight hours, some remnants of just showers, a storm or two still possible, although the severe weather risk should be pretty much gone. Now getting up into the northern part of the risk, some showers and a few thunderstorms are possible, but like I said, I think the northern part of the risk, the instability is not as good. And of course, we're just dealing with a cold front, so there's not a whole lot of lift, but an isolated storm or two could reach severe limits from Cleveland down to Cincinnati into Kentucky, Nashville, all the way down to the Gulf. And as we get into this afternoon, this will also continue to move on to the east, and you can see as we get into later on in the evening, a few stronger storms are possible. So make sure you stay tuned to your local stations and the National Weather Service for any warnings that do pop up. And then as we get into the overnight hours, as that cold front moves on to the east and we lose that heating of the day and that instability, we'll basically just be dealing with some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. So here is our forecast in terms of hail, brought to you by C3 Group. Thanks again, you guys. We do have a marginal chance to see $1.25 to $1.5 size hail from San Antonio northward to Houston. This will be just within the next few hours. And then as we get into later on in the late afternoon, those chances will start to move off to the southeast. So some severe hail is possible, but the chances look to be pretty low. And then as we look for our wind forecast, it's going to be a little bit more widespread. Once I get the timing, here we go. So it's going to be basically along and ahead of that cold front from Cleveland to Pittsburgh, all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. So let's zoom on in here to see some cities. Houston, you can see some severe winds, possibly up to 60 miles per hour as those storms approach you guys later on this evening. And those chances stretch all the way into Baton Rouge, into Jackson, Mississippi, northward to Nashville, Lexington, Kentucky, and all the way up into the northern Great Lakes region from Cleveland eastward to Pittsburgh. Again, up to 60 mile per hour gusts are possible. It's going to be really isolated as, like I've been saying, there just isn't a whole lot of lift. So it's going to be pretty spotty, but just stay tuned, you guys. So as we get into tomorrow, storm system Frank will continue to move on to the east and also continue to lose some steam, but we do have a chance to see some more marginally severe weather tomorrow afternoon. So this is at noon tomorrow. You can see some isolated storms starting to develop along that cold front, and as we get into tomorrow afternoon, you can see some possibly more robust storms will be developing from Richmond, Virginia, all the way down to Raleigh, North Carolina. And then as we get into later on in the evening, those storms will continue to move off to the east and then move off the coast as we get into tomorrow night. And then that will be the end of storm system Frank. So after tomorrow, let's get into tomorrow's hail forecast really quick. This is Merlin Law Group. Thanks, you guys, again, for sponsoring our videos. Just a really small chance of seeing some $1.25 to $1.5 size hail from Raleigh northward to Richmond. And in terms of wind, it's going to be the same deal, up to 60 mile per hour gusts here. And I'll show you that right now. Same area. from Raleigh all the way up into Richmond, Virginia. Just really spotty as this system moves off to the east and then off the coast. And then as we get past today and into Tuesday, looking into the middle of the week, will there be another system to watch? Well, let's take a look at our jet stream. This is sponsored by American Contractors Show. This is where Storm System Frank is right now. So you can see the two different air masses, really warm ahead of it and colder behind it. And as we get into the rest of today and into tomorrow, Storm System Frank will move off to the east, and then you can see another trough moving on in from the Pacific and moving into the western parts of the U.S. So we should be pretty quiet on Wednesday as well as into getting into Thursday. But here we go on a Thursday afternoon. This could be Storm System Gabriella. We got to watch to see if we're going to officially name this one. But it's the next system that will be moving onshore. As we get into Friday, you can see that negative tilt in the trough here, and that will produce more lift and we'll have that instability. So we could see severe weather in the middle of the country. I'll get into a little bit more detail. We're still 4 days out, so we can't get into a lot of detail, but I can give you at least an idea of what areas we'll be watching. And this system will be moving on to the east as we get into Saturday morning. So looking ahead for Friday, this is the area that we will be watching for the potential of severe weather. Again, we're still a ways out, so we will be fine-tuning this as we get closer to Friday, but there is a chance of severe weather from far southern Nebraska into central Kansas, all the way down into here in Oklahoma, so Oklahoma City. You're in the risk, and I think as of right now it's going to stay north of Dallas. Sorry, you guys. But again, a lot of things can change, so make sure you stay tuned to Hail Trace as we iron out those details. So that's all that I have for you today. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and at YouTube. We also have a TikTok, so make sure you follow us there as well. And if you have any questions, concerns, or if you just want to say hi, you can give us a call at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hailtrace.com and check out our website at www.hailtrace.com. And I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday.